In this video, I'm going to share a powerful grounding technique for empaths. So empaths are the type of people that feel other people's emotions. We tend to absorb their energy into our own energetic fields and body. And obviously that can cause problems, right? Being an empath can be a superpower, but for that reason, it can be a problem. And I'm an empath as well, so I have that issue of feeling other people's emotions, and I have learnt that it helps to, as the empath, learn to observe instead of absorb. And so this technique that I'm going to share in this video will help you do that. It will help you to observe instead. And so firstly, I did not come up with this technique. I'm not taking credit for it. I learnt this from my mentor, Aaron Dowdy. And so the purpose of this technique is it gets you grounded in the body. Because a lot of the times the empaths are operating from their third eye, the third eye chakra, where they're intuitively tuning into those around them. So the idea is using this technique to ground you in the body. And so what you do is you just get a candle like this. And you light the candle. It's a really simple technique. So I would do this every morning as soon as I woke up for 10 minutes. And I would just stare at the candle flame. Now I really like staring at candle flames because it helps to quieten down the mind. Eyes that wander is a mind that wanders. So when you focus on the flame, it just helps to quieten down that mind. And then what you do is you stare at the flame. You take a deep breath in, and as you take a deep breath in, you put the awareness in your hands and feet. And then what you want to do is feel the separation between you and the candle. And then you breathe out and simply relax. And then you breathe back in, take a deep breath in, focusing on the candle, put the awareness in your hands and feet. And then feel the separation between you and the candle. And then when you breathe out, you relax. And I would do this every morning for 10 minutes. And so what this does is, I just spilt some wax on me. What this does is it gets you grounded in the body. And it makes you more present to the moment, which also makes your energy more magnetic. And then because you're feeling that separation between you and the candle, that's what helps you to feel the separation between you and other people. I noticed that I used to be the sort of person, like I had that people-pleasing mentality where I would be agreeable with other people. Just sort of go along with what they say and agree with them. And I noticed the change in me when I was practicing this technique where I was less agreeable, because instead of being like at the people-pleasing, just going off or just agreeing with the people around me, I felt the separation between me and that person, and I had that moment where it was like, I instead of being agreeable, would express how I authentically felt, because I was more grounded in my body. And so I practiced this technique every morning for 2 years. I noticed the shifts within me. I was always more grounded, more present. And then I switched it up. I switched my meditations up because I started doing like a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation. However, I still use this meditation. I just don't do it first thing in the morning. So firstly, what I also noticed was once I got the hang of this, because when I first started practicing it, I felt like it was a lot of things to think about. I've got to put the awareness in my hands and feet. I've got to feel the separation between me and the candle. Like it took a few goes at this technique to really get good at it. Not really having to consciously think about everything I'm doing. It just started becoming more natural, right? So this is why it's something you want to just practice daily. And then what would happen is I noticed like when someone would be venting to me, like a friend's venting to me, they're, talking about some sort of negative situation that's going on in their life. As they were talking to me, I'd sit there and listen, but at the same time, I would put the awareness in my hands and feet, and I would feel the separation between me and that person. So that way, I'm not getting involved in their emotions. I'm feeling that separation. So I'm not absorbing and I'm able to just observe. And so because I was practicing doing the candle technique every day for 2 years, it's now very easy for me to just do that without the candle, just when someone's talking to me. I can just sit there and I can still listen to them, but at the same time, I'm being mindful to put the awareness in my hands and feet, because putting your awareness in the body is what helps to anchor you into the body, and then just continuing to feel that separation. So this is why I highly recommend this technique for empaths, because again, you don't want to observe, you don't want to absorb, you want to learn to observe instead. And then I would also use this technique before I did a coaching call with someone. Because on a coaching call, you don't want to be up in your ego mind. You want to be present and grounded. So right before jumping on a coaching call, I would do this technique, and you don't have to use a candle if you don't have one. Candles are great because of the flame and how I said that it helps to quieten down the mind. But you can do it with an object. So sometimes I would just be, sitting in front of my computer and use the computer as the object. And I would just put the awareness in my hands and feet and feel the separation between me and the computer before jumping onto a coaching call. And I end up being a better coach because of it. I'm showing up on the call being present and grounded. There's a separation between me and the client, so then I'm not getting emotionally involved in the client's personal stuff that they, tend to share. And so it just, as a result, it makes me a better coach. If I was a coach where I'm sitting up in my ego mind, operating from the ego thoughts, then I wouldn't be a very good coach, So I highly recommend this technique. Put it into practice every day. And at first, it may be take a little bit of getting used to. And then eventually it'll just becomes like second nature. And then when you're out and about in the world, you will naturally feel a separation from you and everyone around you. Again, if someone's venting to you, you can apply it as well. Feel the separation between you and that person. This is a great way to protect yourself as an empath, to stop absorbing other people's energy. So I hope you liked this video and you got value. And if you did, just let me know by hitting the like button or write a comment. If you like this sort of content, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification, and have an awesome day. Peace.